now I'm joined by Yvonne Coomber. Good morning, Yvonne.
Good morning, Anna. It's really lovely to be here.
Thanks for coming. How are you this morning?
I'm good, yes, I'm well.
You've come from Totnes, haven't you, today?
I have. I'm a little bleary-eyed because we're just at the end of Open Studios, so yeah, I'm feeling it a little bit.
So straight back after this for a full day of the Open Studio.
Yes.
Okay. So I was telling the listeners earlier, you're an artist. You've been professionally an artist for 10 years, and your work's up in galleries all up and down the UK. Tell me a little bit about, when was that moment when you first picked up a paintbrush and you realised that you had that gift?
Probably when I was about 3.
Wow, young.
When I realised that I had that absolute passion for it to become formed, then I was more like 33. For me to go through lots of different paths and ways of being before kind of getting to that point where I realised actually this was the thing that was my magic, and it was the thing that I wanted to do more than anything. And actually when I did it, it was, when I started painting full time, it was absolutely a leap of faith, and I had no idea that it would sort of escalate to the force that it is now. So.
But you took that leap, so good for you. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you did then leading up to that point when you hit 33 and you're like, right, this is the painting that I want.
When I was younger, I travelled a lot, all over the world. I lived for 2 years in the Middle East, and I lived for a year in Australia. I travelled all over Europe, and then when I was 23, I just wanted to settle down a little bit and kind of get focused on something. And I then did a degree in philosophy and literature at Brighton University, and that was fabulous. I really, really loved living in East Sussex. And then when I completed that, I was pregnant and had my daughter Poppy, and we travelled a lot when she was little. We travelled horse-drawn for a little while. And
I get so excited when you talk about this. That's amazing to do. How long did you do that, sort of horse-drawn travelling? Wow.
2 years on and off, so yeah, quite a long time.
And so how old was she when you were doing that then?
Sort of between 1 and 3.
But it just goes to show that you really can do anything, really. Because I'm sure to a lot of people that just seems completely just not doable.
No.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to sort of discover, parts of Britain that I would never have discovered in any other way, and actually to sort of be somewhere for extended periods of time with no technology at all, and then just relying on other people, definitely sort of feeds my practice now. And then we also lived in Spain as well after that for a year or 2.
Wow. So. Do you think the travelling sort of helped you to kind of trust life, to just trust the process? Yes,
and to sort of understand the diversity, really, and to sort of find a way into any sort of person or any sort of culture, that there's something special to be found everywhere and in everyone.
I like that. That's lovely. All right, so obviously a lot of that has inspired your paintings. Can you tell me a little bit about sort of what's behind your paintings? They're very, very colourful. They're bursting with life. Tell me a bit about what's behind that.
I think that it's primarily a real belief in the good in humanity. I know that there's a lot of very horrific things going on. I know that people really suffer, and I too in my time have really suffered, by losing people close to me, and various things that life throws at you. But beyond that, I think that essentially life is good, and actually that's not put out there as much as I would like at the moment. So it's kind of burning a candle for that, but it's not a naive candle. It's like, it's sort of embracing all the rich tapestry of life and all the complexity, but still sort of in the midst of that, like the core, thinking that people and the world is a good place.
You put that so beautifully, Yvonne. That's just lovely. Okay, so tell me the process when you start painting. How do you begin, and how do you get to the finish point? Tell me.
Well, I get really involved. I'm, at the beginning stages, I'm completely covered in paint.
Well, I know when we met, your shoes, you've got these shoes that you've designed yourself, haven't you?
Well, they're not designed, they're just my work boots.
They're awesome.
But yeah, people comment on them quite often. Each time I approach a canvas, even though there's a thread that's sort of repeated through my work, in a way the sort of form isn't so important. It's like I always work outside. I work in a meadow in the middle of Tuckenhay, which is a tiny little village, and there's no houses, no anything near where I work at all, and I'm just in the meadow with my canvas, quite often abandoning myself to the elements. So it'll be quite dependent on what the weather's doing, and so I'll decide, I'm going to paint a forest scene or a meadow or some wildflowers, or whatever I choose as a sort of starting point. But then, sort of very quickly, once I've kind of made that decision, I'm just letting the paint do its thing at the beginning, and it really is like a dance. So I'm throwing and splattering and dripping and dribbling and throwing paint at the canvas, and moving around the canvas very, very quickly, and letting the paint. It's a conversation, really, or a song even, where we're sort of talking to each other. And then there'll be a moment where I feel that part is complete, and then I'll put it on a shelf to dry. And then after that, it's a process of many, many layers. So it's building up, sort of more and more detail. And actually, it's that quality that makes my paintings unique. I mean, I don't know how aware you are, but there's other people sort of trying to replicate, but actually, that sort of wildness at the beginning and that total sort of attention to detail at the end are the things that I know are unique to me. And also the time process, it's weeks and weeks that a painting takes to create because of the layers. So yeah, so it needs patience as well, but because I'm quite often working on several, I can kind of then drag out another one that's sort of further along the line and work on that.
So it keeps it varied for you.
Yeah.
Okay, Yvonne, as a creative myself, I know sometimes that creativity can come in waves. I have friends like this as well. We'll have periods where it's like we feel really creative, and then other times when we don't. How do you stay focused? How do you keep that consistency going so that you can have this as your career?
Well, I think it's a little bit what I said earlier, even if I'm feeling not great, actually when I'm in front of a canvas, it almost feels like something that's not quite me becomes part of it. It's like I open to something that's bigger than me, and that evaporates, that feeling of, I don't want to do this.
So you still have that initial, I don't feel like doing it, but once you put yourself
once I kind of turn up and I'm just there, then something happens.
Yeah. So you think sort of no further ahead than turning up, so get past the turn up bit.
Yeah.
And then the art begins.
Probably like we all are with work sometimes.
Yeah. And I think it takes discipline, doesn't it?
It does. Like creativity definitely takes discipline, and then you allow magic to come in. So it's the combination of those two things, and I'm very, very committed to what I do. So.
Yeah. Okay. How do you get yourself out there? So obviously you're very creative, and again with creatives it's that balance of that kind of business head and the creativity. How are you sort of managing that?
Well, I get a lot of support from my galleries. I mean, I have the Dart Gallery in Dartmouth, locally, the Gloss Gallery in Exeter, that's just in Devon, and I also have I have galleries all over the country, including London, and so they support me a lot. And again, the discipline, I quite often each day will give time to social networking, and I have a Facebook page and a Twitter that I engage with to let people know what I'm up to. I'm just about to launch a new website actually, and start a blog as well.
Cool.
So,
I'll be watching your blog.
Yes. And I don't know, just seeing where opportunities are, like open studios, for instance. That's very, very good publicity for me, and it's been really wonderful to have people come in and chat, and
When you first sort of started this as a career, did you feel nervous about approaching galleries, and did you have that sort of was there a nervousness, like, oh, will they like my work, or did you ever feel like that?
Well, I think that I was very blessed in that right at the beginning there was a new gallery which was called the Brownston Gallery, which is in Devon. A new gallery with a new gallery owner. She'd never run a gallery before, and I was a new artist, and it was the very, very first open studio I ever did in Totnes, and she came over and said, would you like to show at my gallery? And I went for it, and immediately there was just such a phenomenal response.
Your work very much speaks for itself, I think. Going on to that, I mean, obviously your work is beautiful, and you are very talented and very blessed. So I would imagine because of that you get a lot of compliments, and maybe people can slightly be in awe of you. Do you find that, and how do you cope with that?
I think I'm so accessible as a person that I can sort of dissolve. I have had that on many occasions, but I'll always kind of meet someone with, "Hey, I'm just Yvonne, and the painting's something else."
Yeah, so, but you have that such down to earth, personable thing about you. I couldn't imagine it getting to you. But it was a question I wanted to throw in there, because I think so often we can put very talented people on a pedestal and forget that they're a normal person as well, and almost be afraid of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, I'm.
You're not scary at all, honestly. Yvonne is not scary. Where can we find your work, like nearby in Exeter?
In the Gloss Gallery.
Yeah. So Gloss Gallery. And I remember I actually first saw a piece of your work, I think it was in Gandy Street years ago, and it was like, it spoke to me. It was like, wow, what's that in the window?
Yeah, that was a very good location for my work. They got a lot of publicity from my work being there, but unfortunately that gallery no longer exists. But even though the Gloss Gallery is a bit more hidden away, it's a really fabulous gallery. So,
Okay. No, it's because it's opposite the Barnfield Theatre, isn't it? Tucked around behind there. Yes, do pop to the Gloss Gallery and check out Yvonne's work. So where can people find you online?
On my website, YvonneCoomber.com, and through my Facebook account, again, Yvonne Coomber. My Twitter account is Wild Honey Heart at Twitter. They're the main places at the moment. So.
Just put her name in Google, you will find her, and this vibrant art will come up, and then you'll be hooked forever. All right, lastly, at the end of my interviews I normally get my interviewee to share some tips with the listeners. So what advice would you have for other aspiring artists out there, or people with a big passion and they want to turn it into a career, and maybe they're struggling? What would you say to them?
I would say to firstly, create a body of work that you are really proud of before you even start putting it out there. Just work to that. Have no attachment to how it may be received, but put your heart and soul in it, and that will be like one of the strongest things. And then after that, systematically, don't get too caught up in rejection. Just apply to as many galleries as you possibly can, and then just wait to see what lands where. I would do it all quite quickly, because I think sometimes what happens is people do things and then kind of get devastated really quickly, whereas I think you kind of have to push through that and just keep going.
Yeah, get it all in one hit and go for it.
And online, actually, you know, there's sites online like Art Finder and Saatchi Online, where it's also possible, you know, which is great. Actually, it's a new thing, a place for artists to sell their work, you know, directly to the public without a gallery, you know.
Okay. All right, and just lastly, I think Mike's listening, isn't he, this morning? Just quickly tell us a bit about Mike, please.
Well, my husband, Mike, we got married last year, is also a phenomenally talented artist. We're doing open studios together at the moment. His work is very different to mine. It's very narrative based, and each painting he does is a story, and he definitely inspires my work. My titles are so romantic, you know, down to him. And his name is Mike Boyer, so he's also worth checking out. And he's showing with me at Open Studios at the moment. And he's the one responsible for taking me to a lot of the wild, beautiful places that inform my work. So.
Oh, your face just lights up when you're talking about him, because you mentioned before that love, you know, when you're in love as well, that really sort of feeds the work.
Yeah, absolutely, totally.
Okay, Yvonne, thank you so much for coming in today. That was such a lovely interview. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiana.